Yeah, good evening, everyone. Sorry for a little delay that we had. I Today is day 2 of 10 days of Microsoft Fabric. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So today is day 2, and yesterday we started with introduction to Fabric, and today day 2, we have looked at getting started with Lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric. Ola did a lot of introduction yesterday, making us realize the importance of Microsoft Fabric and the solution that Fabric is actually standing to address. We did also mention yesterday that the universal storage when it comes to Fabric is OneLake, which is the central storage that is accessible for everybody, so that there won't be duplication and redundancy of your data within your environment or within your tenant. So we have OneLake, and today we are looking at lakes in the Microsoft Fabric. Now, yeah, the easiest way for us to explain lake houses, we need to think of it like a power filling station, and you can think of OneLake like as your depot. Now, the bigger repository where data is stored is your OneLake, but there is the concept of lake houses, and which there is a format in which data is stored in lake houses, and that format is called parquet format or data format. This format is an open source format that is actually very optimized for tabular column. So, and for those of us that are familiar with Power BI, we understand there is two type of import mode. There are of importing data into Power BI. We have import mode and direct queries, of which they all have implications. But with lake houses now, there is what we call delta mode. This delta mode will give you the speed of import mode and also give you the storage of direct query. So you have advantage of both import mode and direct query with data lake of importing data in Microsoft Fabric lakehouses. And another interesting thing about lakehouses is the fact that it is accessible for every data role. Your data engineer can have access to it. Your data scientists have access to the same data, and your data analysts also have access to the same data. From lakehouses, you can realize that you can repeat your data model, you can connect your notebook for your machine learning model, and all of those things. So this data storage mode is actually very, very smart, and is very, very, very small. So you can use it to actually process each data, and it is based on Apache Spark. Apache Spark is like a large compute engine that you use for processing each data. When we're talking about each data, we are talking about billions of rows of data here, and not 5,000 rows of data. So with this, the Apache Spark works such that it's like we have multiple computer processing the data set at the same time. Unlike, for example, where we are working with Synapse Analytics, we realize that there are several layers of data. Most organizations describe it as we have your bronze layer, you have your silver layer, and then you have your gold layer. So most of the time, you have to transfer your data from CSV file to package or data format. That is actually very easy for the machine to process. But with data houses in Fabric now, the data is actually stored in data format, and you can even easily upload your CSV file in Lakehouse, and you can transform it directly into this data lake format. If you want to do that with Synapse Analytics, or you have to start writing a number of codes. I even develop maybe pipeline to orchestrate your data from the bronze layer to the silver layer that is more useful for the business. But with lake houses, you can actually get your CSV transformed with a single click. If you actually take the exercise from today's documentation, you realize that with the ellipses that you have on your left side, you can just click on it, and then it is transform your data sets from CSV into data lake format that can be processed either by a data scientist, data engineer, or a data analyst, and it makes your data processing very, very fast. Yeah, it is possible for you to have more than one lake house in the workspace. We have for you to work, you actually in Fabric, you need the workspace, and your workspace have to be uh Fabric enabled. So you could have several lake houses within a workspace, but lakehouses are sitting on top of one lake. So You could have lakehouse, one lakehouse within a workspace. You could have lakehouse within different workspaces. So most of the time, you can use the concept of lakehouse for project based or department based. It depends on whatever you are working with. So it makes processing of data very fast, and then the storage tree is well optimized, and the data set in this format is actually following the ACID properties, which is it is atomic, it is consistent, it is isolated, and then I have forgotten the now. So it has this property of data, such that data will remain the same state from where they are moving in our transactional system. So this is the interface between the big OneLake storage that serve as our depot, and then Lakehouse are the small filling stations where you can actually access our data, bringing our data close to everybody, be it the data analyst, be it the data scientist, or a data engineer. So you can actually move your data into a data lake. Either you go through the route of data upload gen 2, or you can even use the Power Query online to get your data set into your lake houses. So the data set automatically, no matter the form they are coming from, they are going to just be transformed automatically into data lake formats that is easily processable by the machine. We are not going to take too much time for today's section. So welcome any question that anybody wants to ask us now. So I'll be handing over to Faith to moderate this section, and then we can then answer your questions. So Faith.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Please, if you have questions, you just request to speak, or you can drop your questions in the comment section, and then I'll just read that out, and then Ola or Francis is going to help us answer that. So please request to speak, or you can just use the comment section to ask your questions. I think we have like 8 minutes. Francis, are we still going to end by 9:30?
Yes, if you don't have any question, but if there is question, since we start a bit late, we can extend and then take those questions extensively.
So please, if you have any questions, your time to come off mute and ask, or like I said, use the comment section.
Faith, I think with somebody is requesting to speak. Things.
Yes, I just tried to make the person a speaker. So I convene. If you can go on and ask your question. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Francis. Thank you, and thank you. The question is, in a Microsoft Fabric, we have different lake houses. Now, what I want to ask, or the clarification I want to make, is that for each of those lake houses, is it that it will be like, let's say, one data per lake house, or is it possible to get like different data, then do a bit of a modeling just to connect the table or the data together in one lake house, and also in another lake house have like 3, 4, 5, 6 different data as well in another lake house. And again, if you have like 3, 4, 5 lake houses in the fabric, is it possible to model or to create a connection between those lake houses? So that's just what I need clarification on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Akumi, for that very important question. Actually, in a lake house, you can have multiple tables. The project I did with Fabric already, I actually have a singular lake house where I have several tables. I have my fact table and I have my dimension table. So you could even write your SQL query on lake houses, because when you deploy a lake house, there are three assets that are deployed together with the lake house. You have your lake house, that's the interface for your lake house, and then you have your SQL endpoint. This allows you to query your data using SQL query. You have your interface like your SQL Server Studio, where you can actually query your data, and then you have a third asset that is called Lakehouse data set. So this data set actually, if you click on it, you can actually see all data sets that you have in your Lakehouse, be it tables, be it views that you have created with your SQL as SQL objects. All of them you can connect to them in your SQL data set. And also within your Lakehouse, you can switch to the SQL endpoints where you can actually write your queries, and then right on that same spot, so you can just navigate to another screen where you can model your data set. So it's not just one table. You can bring several tables into it, and then you can model it together using your primary key and foreign keys, and you can do your dimension tables and fact tables. So you can do all of these things in your Lakehouse. Even though there is a warehousing experience in Fabric, but with your Lakehouse also, you can actually create your data modeling. So if you check my pin tweet in my profile and look at the end-to-end project that I did with Lakehouse, you see that I actually did a modeling from my Lakehouse, and I created views with SQL query. I wrote some queries to actually do my modeling, created fact table, created dimension tables, and then I now do a data modeling just like you do your Power BI desktop. So you can actually do your modeling in your lakehouses. And within a lakehouse, like I said earlier, you can within a workspace, you can have multiple lakehouses.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, Francis, for answering the question. Do you have any other question? I can't find any question yet on the comment section. So I don't know. Is there anybody that would like to come up with and ask so that we can move forward with? So let me just quickly point to this. Francis, I don't know if you use notebook in the Microsoft Fabric, but while I was going through it today, I noticed that you could actually use notebook. So I also wanted to ask if you tried out, because I see that you could code too. So have you tried any of that out? Maybe with SQL or like notebook on say where we have it on Jupyter notebook.
Yes, you can actually connect your lakehouse to a notebook. The interesting thing with a lakehouse is to make the data more accessible. It brings data closer to you from your one lake. Now, once you have your data in your lakehouse, a data scientist can connect to it using a notebook. It could be a Spark notebook. You can, even on your Spark notebook, you can actually change your code from Spark code to Python code. So you can write your code, you can write SQL, and then you can do your data modeling. You can even do some data transformation even at the level of the lakehouse. So the lakehouse is so much robust that all of these things are possible. So it makes work easy for the scientist, the engineer, and the data analyst. I made a tweet earlier where I was saying that lakehouses is like a penthouse. Everybody loves a penthouse because it's actually very fancy. So the same thing for lakehouse. Lakehouse is like penthouse in concept of fabric. So we have one lake. One lake is just large expanse of land. But on your lakehouse, you connect your notebook into it. You could write your SQL query. As a matter of fact, you can even copy your SQL endpoints in lakehouses and paste it inside of your SQL management studio. Just like you want to connect Power BI to SQL source where you get your server name and then you get your database name. So you can go to your lakehouse, go to the SQL endpoint, and then you copy the connection string, paste it in your SQL server, and then you can actually connect onto it as if you are connecting to SQL server. And also, if you are connecting notebook into your lakehouses, it could be you are connecting an existing lakehouse or you are actually creating a new lakehouse. Assuming that okay, you want to start your project as a data science project, and there is no visualization that has been in place for that project. So you can connect even your dirty data into your lakehouses, and then you start doing your data cleaning with a notebook, and then you do your EDA and do your machine learning straight. So either an existing lakehouse or a new lakehouse, you can actually work with it with notebook, with SQL, and do your data modeling. All of these things just makes work easy for everybody.
Yeah, I think there is so much to achieve with Microsoft Fabric.
Now,
So
if
much.
you actually look at my screen switch also, I actually connected my lake house to a Spark notebook. So you can check it out to see what is possible. At the end of 10 days, we are going to have actually an end-to-end project where we are going to demonstrate all of the things that are possible. So Fabric is actually a very interesting one and makes a lot of work easy for everybody. Oh, it's very good.
Nice, nice, nice. Really, really nice. I'm already seeing the things that you could do, even though I've not exactly used an end-to-end project. I'm so excited. And I can't even wait for 10th day so that we can, walk around something really practical. So, do we still have questions? Wait, it's already 9. We don't have questions. Then we can just, end the session for today. Francis, what do you think?
And I
Have
think
you get some questions?
yeah, today is just day 2. Yesterday was Ito Grand running. Today is keep running. So we can't be tired now. We have to keep running so that we'll get what we are supposed to get out of these 10 days of fabric, so that we'll separate our fashion designers from analytics fabricator. So I'm guessing that we no longer have questions. So in the absence of question, then we can actually continue tomorrow, where we are going to move to the next section of our 10-day journey, which is use Apache Spark. So some of the things I mentioned today become clearer by the time we finish the documentation for tomorrow. So Spark is open source technology for processing large data, and that's the format in which data is stored in Lakehouses. So by tomorrow, we'll talk more about Spark Apache, which is actually closer to data engineering side of things in Fabric. So I think this is a convenient point for us to end today. Then tomorrow, we go again as we become analytics fabricator. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Uh, we really appreciate your time. Thank you, Faith.
Thank you so much, Francis. I think so many people are looking forward to when we'll talk about the real-time analytics. I think that's the part I'm more excited about.
Yeah. I think people are really excited about that. And it's actually KQL, that is custom query language, very similar to SQL, but a little bit different. So we are still going to get to that part, and it's a very interesting one.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. So, guys, we'll meet again tomorrow, same time by 9 p.m. So
Yeah.
through your go to the third module. And if you have questions, you can always put them under any of the spaces, comment section. And yes, any of the rules will be there to answer. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good one. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, Francis.
Good night.
Yes, thank you, guys.